and W253DF Memphis. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Look up on the wall, there on the floor, under the pillow, behind the door. There's a crack in the mirror, somewhere there's a hole in a window pane. Now do you think I'm to blame?
Good Thursday morning to one and all. Wow, what a gorgeous day. It's going to be even nicer tomorrow. Almost feels like winter's over, but don't be fooled. It's still February. Busy show. As always, on Thursdays, we'll start in a few minutes. We'll bring in the TV voice of the Grizz, Pete Pranica. Tom Hart from ESPN will join us at around 10:28 or so, and then we end our day with the Hall of Famer Jarvis Greer. We will head downtown and chat with him. Grizz last night lose to the Golden State Warriors 133-112. I think this is playing right into the Grizz hands. They're trying to get as many ping pong balls as they can possibly get, and they continue to start a guard at center. Max Prosper was a point guard at one time this year. We're going to ask Pete Pranica about that. And it really hurts. I mean, you look last night at the stats. They lost the rebound battle 56-39. If I do my math correctly, that's 17 rebounds. Second chance points, they lose that 29-17 by 12 points in the paint, 58-44. When you don't have any bigs and you're not making any real moves to get better in that department, you're trying to lose. Ty Jerome, 22 in 24 minutes. They're up to 24 minutes with him. GG again, the star, 24 and 8 with 2 assists. But no Ja, no Coward, no Clark, no Edey, no even Kyle Anderson, no KCP, he's out for the year. No Aldama. There's 7 guys right there who would be starting or in the rotation. That would be the 7 guys you would probably start as in front of everybody else that are sitting on the bench. And now they take off for a 3-game road trip. It starts in Dallas on Friday, and they're battling with Dallas to see who can get more ping pong balls. Tough position for the NBA to be in, and we shall chat again with Pete about that. The Tigers tonight, late night at FedEx Forum against Wichita State. Landon Schmidt, I was stunned. Do you know the Tigers are 1.5 favorites against Wichita?
I did see that. That is a little bit stunning for me.
Well, you know, they were 4.5 point favorites against UAB. 5.5 against UAB. It went to 5.5. It opened at 4.5. Yeah. So that really doesn't mean anything, honestly. But if you're going to get any chance to get the double bye, so you're there on Friday, not Thursday, you don't have to win 4 games in 4 days, just 3 and 3, you got to win tonight. And it's a winnable game. I did not think Wichita State was a great basketball team. At that point, the Tigers they went on one of those droughts after they had the lead, which, by the way, did you see last night, St. John's, what happened in that game?
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Connecticut is obviously a great team, and Danny Hurley knows how to scheme up defenses. But so in the first half, there was a drought that St. John's, and this is a ranked team. They had won, I don't know how many in a row, but a lot in a row. St. John's there was a period where they went and missed 12 in a row. 12 shots in a row. Remember, the Tigers missed 19 in a row. I'd never seen anything like that. So then St. John's decided, 12 in a row is not enough. Let's really make a statement here.
They have to set the record.
Let's set the record. They did not hit a shot to end the game. They missed their last 24 shots. That record may never be broken.
I don't think so. I don't think
a ranked team in particular, like Rick Pitino was saying afterwards, this is like he's had 2 or 3 real beatings in games, never with a ranked team. The worst loss was when he had Kentucky, and he went and I'm probably making this up, but he probably played one of those Florida teams that was great with,
Right.
that went back-to-back Final Fours. And I think they lost by 55, but he had just taken over that program. He had a bunch of walk-ons.
Yeah.
I mean, he lost by 32 points last night with a ranked team. You think Danny Hurley likes Rick Pitino? You think there was anything in there with that, or maybe they just just missed. They just played defense,
I was about to
right?
say it's hard to tell when you miss 24 straight shots.
Wow. I mean, that's crazy. But it happened. So I don't feel so bad about the 19 in a row by the Tigers.
No, it makes us look pretty.
But they can't do that tonight. Neither team can score. This should be kind of a low-scoring event. We'll see. I hope the Tigers don't turn the ball over like they had 17 turnovers in the game at Wichita. Now, in defense of that, they did not have Doug McDaniel in the second half. They did not have Sincere Parker for the whole game. Will they have Bradshaw, who did play good at Wichita? You know who really turned around the Wichita State game? You're never going to believe this unless you're really watching. Any guesses, Landon Schmidt?
No.
The guy that turned around, because Memphis won the second half in that game. They were down 18 at the break. Simon Majak. Simon Majak kept that big kid, the 7'2" kid Berg that came from Purdue.
Yeah.
And he played for the Sweden U16 and U18 teams. He kept him in check. He had I want to say he had 8 or 9 rebounds in the first half. He had 1. He only ended up with 10 rebounds. So Majak did a heck of a job on him in the second. I'll see if I wonder if he'll play today because, he's in and out of the rotation. I suspect if Bradshaw can't play, he definitely will. By the way, last night, Tulsa just absolutely killed Tulane, 90-56. South Florida was a winner over Rice by 19. Well, you kind of figured that. So Wichita State, with only 5 losses, really needs to win to keep pace tonight. So the Tigers really need to win to stay out of the bottom, and there is meaning for that reason in this game this evening. Couple of quick notes before we hook up with Pete Pranica. Max Scherzer coming back for a 19th season with Toronto. You remember last year they made a big point, and he pitched in Game 7, and they kind of tipped his cap, and that was a great farewell to get all the way to the World Series. But the Blue Jays, who have a good team, obviously, they have 2 starters who are injured. So in order to get some help, they signed Scherzer, who, as soon as he retires 5 years later, will be in the Hall of Fame. Could be, probably should be, a unanimous choice. He's coming back for $3 million. It's hard to turn down $3 million, especially if you can still play. So we'll see. Cincinnati. This is something maybe we'll talk about with Tom Hart here. They are suing their former quarterback who transferred away, Brendan Sorsby, who went to Texas Tech. There was language in the contract with Sorsby. He signed a 2-year NIL deal with Cincy that if he left, he'd have to pay $1 million. His representative just told Cincinnati, we ain't paying you nothing. So now they're taking him to court. I hope they win. You know what he's making from Texas Tech? It's somewhere in the range of $4 to $6 million. If you left for that, you owe your school that you just left on the hook. You absolutely owe that. Joel Quenneville. You know who that is?
Now ringing.
You don't know
any
Joe
bells.
Quenneville? Oh, my gosh. Joel Quenneville was the coach of the Chicago Blackhawks when they won 3 Stanley Cups in 5 years.
Well, if it's any consolation, I only recently got into hockey.
Okay. Well, let me just tell you, he's now the coach of the Anaheim Ducks. Joel Quenneville last night became just the 2nd coach in the history of the NHL, which is a long history going back to the original 6, which the Blackhawks were, to win 1,000 games as the head coach. 1,000. Only Scotty Bowman from the Detroit Red Wings had done that. Quenneville was great. I still don't understand why the Blackhawks let him go. That's a little like the Titans letting Mike Vrabel go. It's one of those things you shake your head. But Quenneville, just the 2nd to win 1,000. I always thought he looked the part and played the part. He's the, if you looked hockey head coach, in the dictionary, the picture would be Joel Quenneville. I promise you. And then congratulations and best of luck to Joe Tomek, who is stepping down as the FedEx St. Jude Classic Executive Director. He's going to Australia for 2 years. He'll be involved in the President's Cup in Australia. Then, I'm sure the PGA Tour will place him somewhere. I hear he's keeping his house in Memphis because he does like Memphis. This is apparently an offer he can't refuse. We're going to get him on next week. But congratulations to Joe Tomek. We are sitting in the Family Leisure studio. A reminder that Floor Mata Spa sale still going on. All you got to do is get to I-40 and Wooden Road. Mention us. You might get something extra special. But they got to make room. That's why there's deep discounts on over 100 display models and in-stock hot tubs, swim spas, cold plunges. In other words, if it's set up in the store and you like it, you're going to get a big discount. Go see Billy. Go see Lindsay. She owns the place. Make sure you tell them we sent you and take advantage of the deep discounts going on now on the floor model sale at Family Leisure. We head down the road, down Ridgeway, in fact, and hook up with Pete Pranica. Tough night last night. It's just the bigs. They have no size inside. Can that be remedied, Pete Pranica? Good morning.
Good morning, Dave. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there are some guys that are 7-footers out there who would be looking for a job, but the Grizzlies had an open roster spot, and they decided to sign Ryan Rupert, who's 6'7", and so you have Olivier Maxence Prosper playing center last night, and obviously that's not a recipe for success. The roster is unbalanced with a definite lack of size, and those are the guys they have, and the decisions that are made, they're made by people way above my pay grade.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard Brevin Knight say this on a couple of broadcasts ago, that Prosper was a starting point guard in one of the rosters that Tomas Isolo had thrown out. So he's actually gone from the 1 to the 5. Is that accurate?
I don't recall that for Omax, but I think everybody on this team has been placed in virtually every position. We've seen Kyle Anderson play the 5. It's been a very interesting, let's just say in the last 12 games, they have started 12 different lineups. I think we're up to 23 different players have started at least one game for the Grizzlies. That is the biggest number in the NBA. So
is that a record?
I don't know. I don't think it's an all-time record, but it is the high in the NBA this year.
I know about some tough seasons as well over the years. Are you ever frustrated? This is 2 of the last 3 years where half the roster, literally half. I mean, last night I just counted it. 7 guys didn't play that are better than anybody that's on the floor right now. Is it frustrating to do these games at all?
No, sure it is. Sure it is. I mean, look, you grew up with Dick Butkus in Chicago. I grew up with Ray Nitschke in Green Bay. Okay,
exactly.
You're about that Vince Lombardi, George Halas. Let's go out there, let's win. And so, yeah, it is frustrating when you don't have the talent available to you to compete on a night in, night out basis. So it is frustrating. You're trying to highlight the young guys and what they are doing and potentially what they can do in the future. I got a note today from a fan who was critical of us, saying that we said too many nice things about the opponent. Like, hey, they're NBA players too. If they make a good play, we're gonna celebrate that because the NBA is a great game. But it is frustrating. I mean, I'm very competitive. Brevin's very competitive. You'd like to win games, and it is frustrating when you have a night like last night where a Golden State Warriors team that was missing Draymond Green, who was missing both of the Currys, no Porzingis, no DeAnthony Melton, who's been lights out since Christmas, and the game turns out the way that it does. So it is frustrating, but it's not something Brevin or I can control. All we can control is the quality of the broadcast, and hopefully we are continuing to bring people a quality broadcast.
Since you mentioned Ray Nitschke, did I ever tell you the story that Gale Sayers once told at a dinner I was at? Gale Sayers was running against the Green Bay Packers, and the great linebacker Ray Nitschke grabbed one leg, trying to remember who the defensive lineman was. There was a guy named Wood, wasn't there, for the Pack?
Willie Wood.
Willie Wood.
Willie Wood was a DB. Yeah.
Okay, so Willie Wood grabbed the other leg. Nitschke looked at Wood and said, "Make a wish."
That would be totally in line with Ray Nitschke.
Yes, that would be. Ja Morant. I guess next week is the medical reveal. In light, and I don't know how much you can say because you really don't know. The Grizzlies are very, very close to the vest on all this. But I've got to speculate here. With the league fining teams now for not playing players who are probably healthy but trying really not to win games, what will the Grizzlies do here? Will they play Ja in this uncomfortable situation? We know they're not moving him till summer. If they move him, what do you think happens here? How does this play out?
It's a really good question because the last review was that he was feeling discomfort in the elbow. So, that is a player self-reporting. So you have to go with it and take it at face value. Now, what's happened is the NBA does have independent medical consultants, and they have already been enlisted, much to the chagrin of Rick Carlisle in Indiana,
right,
to say, hey, you're saying this guy's hurt. Our independent medical guy looked at him and said, no, he can play. So I don't know if the league gets involved at some point if Ja does not come back. But it is a big mystery as far as how that's going to play out. I have zero insight into it, and I'm waiting just like everybody else what the update's going to be when it comes out.
G.G. Jackson last night had 24 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. Now, I say this all the time. You have to be careful with numbers because every NBA team is going to score 100 points in a game no matter who's out there. And they're all really good players. But at a really competitive starting or top 7 rotation guy, is G.G. Jackson starting to fill that bill? Or is he getting these numbers because he's out there and somebody's going to pick up those numbers?
A very good question because he's doing what he did 2 years ago when the Grizzlies had a roster that was decimated by injury. I think my take on it, Wolo, is he's just playing better. He's playing more under control. His decision-making is better. His defense is better. So I think that if you do have a fully stocked roster, there is a role for him with this basketball team. Why? Because you always need length. You need physicality. You need the ability to get to the front of the rim, and Gigi certainly brings all of that to the table. So, when the 26-27 Grizzlies are reconstituted, however that turns out, I think there's going to be a role for him, and I don't think this is fool's gold by any stretch of the imagination. It's not just the numbers; it's the quality of his play, and you see the maturity. And I talked to Gigi on Media Day, and he freely admitted that last year was a real struggle. He was injured, and when he was able to come back from injury, it was right when things were starting to turn sour with Taylor Jenkins and the team was starting to go south. So he was like, okay, what's my role? I don't know what's my role. The coach seems to be on thin ice. What's going on here? So, but he came in this year. He said, look, I got my mind right. He said, I'm in a really good place. He was mature and self-aware enough that when the Grizzlies did have a fully stocked group of wings, and there weren't opportunities there, he said, look, let me go to the hustle. Let me get some reps there because that's going to be to my greater long-term benefit. A very mature thing for him to say because he's not a two-way guy. He was productive, and then as the injury started to mount among the Grizzlies' wings, he had the opportunity to play, and he's produced very, very well.
Clearly, he's got the athleticism and the tools to create, which is a plus when you're his size. So I guess that is still to be determined. The Phoenix Suns owner, who's a billionaire, Matt Ishbia, wants to improve the All-Star weekend. He wants the big names to still compete in the dunk contest and the three-point shooting contest. And he's come up with this thing where he personally will give $1 million to the winner of the dunk, the winner of the three-point shooting contest gets $1 million, and charity gets $1 million. He did not consult with the league office when he put this thing out. I don't know if that's legal or not. Give me your sense of it.
If it's coming from a governor of a team, it's probably not legal. Now, for those of you who may not know, next year's All-Star game is in Phoenix in his building. So,
Ah.
so there's ulterior motives here. Now, having said that, I think either you have the Stars compete in the dunk contest or you don't have it, because that has now become an annual cry. I think what you do is you move the three-point shootout to be the finale of All-Star Saturday. That is the one where you do get the best in the game in that particular facet to perform, and it's almost always very, very dramatic. So I would make that the last event on All-Star Saturday. Unless you can get the Stars to participate in the dunk contest, I think that goes away. What would be really interesting is if you put together a one-on-one mini tournament or a two-on-two. You know, let's get the Spencer brothers playing against somebody else two-on-two.
Yeah.
You know, something for some entertainment value. And I think we're both old enough to remember when CBS had the NBA contract that they would pre-tape games of horse with superstars and play that at halftime. Obviously, a game of horse live, that it could take forever. But something more fun, lighthearted like that, but where there's competition, where there's head-to-head competition. I think that ultimately is where they should be going with the All-Star game. I don't think Ishbia's suggestion is going to work out unless the title sponsor of the Slam Dunk Contest were to pony up the money. I think for a team governor to say, "Hey, I'm going to do that," no, I don't think I don't think that's appropriate.
Last thing, don't know if you know anything about it, but there's this new startup league. It's sort of a resurrection of the old U.S. basketball league, USBL. It starts next month. Seattle, the Superhawks, I think is what they're called, signed Jonte Porter, who's been banned for life from the NBA for gambling, to a deal. You know anything about this league? I just heard about it.
No, this is brand new to me. I did see the headline that Jonte Porter was back in professional basketball. I just didn't realize what it was. Startup league. I don't know. I just don't. I don't see that there's room for it. But you know, the whole gambling thing obviously has been a real problem. I mean, Russell Westbrook is detailing that. You know, you're getting death threats if you don't hit your number in a particular parlay, and that's ridiculous. And we're seeing it in European football as well. So. I'm always uncomfortable with gambling when it comes to sports because it just really creates some very, very difficult issues.
Unfortunately, the toothpaste is out of the tube on that one. And when you are sponsoring a league like the NBA, you know, it's not going to go away. That's the reality of it.
It's there, but I've been around the league so long that David Stern, I mean, he hated the thought of gambling being associated with the NBA, but it's a different world. It's legal pretty much everywhere now. So yeah, it's part of our society, whether we like it or not.
In the old days, the commissioners wouldn't go near Vegas at all, and now everybody wants to be in Vegas. That's how life changes. Pete Pranik, as always, we appreciate it. We'll do this again next Thursday.
Sounds good.
That is our man, the TV voice of the Grizzlies, Pete Pranica. We take a break. When we come back, we're headed to Atlanta. I think Tom Hart from ESPN on a myriad of topics. Looks like Florida's pulling away. And what about this story with the Cincinnati quarterback getting sued by his former school because he's going to Texas Tech? Tom Hart will weigh in just a minute right here on Wolo and Friends.
Did you miss your favorite Sports 56 show? No! Check out the podcast, broken down hourly at sports56whbq.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe. Never miss any Sports 56 show again with our podcasts available daily from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I got him on the line, the main man, Jason Marshall over at Gossett Hyundai on the Pike. Hey, man, I hear you're going strong with the Hyundai Getaway sales event at Gossett Hyundai 1956 Covington Pike.
You heard right, Randy. I've got to take your pick that doesn't get any better. How about a breakthrough electric sedan, 2025 Ioniq 6 or a 2026 Hyundai Elantra SE? Just $197.33 a month.
Under $200 a month for Ioniq 6 or Elantra SE. What else you got?
How about a 2026 Hyundai Santa Fe with a 12.3-inch touchscreen display, only $335.53 a month.
Plus, you always get owner assurance with America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So come see me, Jason the Main Man Marshall, where we're charging forward and charging less at Gossett Hyundai. 1956 Covenant Pike, or visit online at HyundaiGossett.com 24/7.
Ioniq SA 1173-351, Sonata TA 527-988, Santa Fe TH 197-320, includes all rebates and incentives, FF 895, excludes tax on license, approved credit. See dealer for complete details, offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only must finance through HMA, not all customers will qualify.
Hi, folks. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. And a couple of weeks ago, a gentleman came in and bought his wife a beautiful diamond bracelet for Valentine's Day. As I wrapped it up, he asked me, Bill, how long have we been doing this? Well, he and I both thought backward to when he bought his engagement ring for me in 1971, and we did the math. And the answer to the question was 55 years ago. Then we talked about some 24 years later when his son got married, and Russell Brothers Jewelers had just the right ring for his bride. Then, this past Christmas, I had the pleasure of meeting his grandson, and we found the perfect gift for his girlfriend. At Russell Brothers, we take great pride in the multi-generational families that we serve, and we are humbled by their loyalty. So how do we do it? Easy answer, folks, and one I'm proud of. Beauty, quality, value, and service. And we would love the opportunity to share them with you at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. Come see us at 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
If wedding bells are in your future, you need an unforgettable engagement ring from a jeweler you can trust. And that's been James Gaddis Jewelers for over 60 years. With a huge selection and the best prices, James Gaddis is a master jeweler and diamondologist. Beautiful jewelry from James Gaddis is always the right choice. Choose from rings to earrings, necklaces to bracelets, and gemstones to watches. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar, online at GaddisJewelers.com, and Instagram at Gaddis Jewelers. Say I do at James Gaddis Jewelers.
Progressive knows life takes you in many directions.
Bear right at exit 32, then begin to wonder why you never bought a fish tank. In 1.3 miles, you'll realize you've been mispronouncing epitome your whole life. At the roundabout, you will remember you said something at dinner you wish you hadn't, and will think about it for decades. You have arrived at your destination, but it turns out there really is no destination, and life just keeps going.
Wherever life takes you, protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back in. We're going to chat some SEC and college sports with Tom Hart from ESPN momentarily. He's brought to you by Ken. That's Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. We're talking third generation now. Williams in the business. William Garland. How about that? The two Kens, of course, 80 years ago this whole thing began. And what they do, well, is they build palaces throughout the Memphis metro area. They've done unbelievable jobs, not just building. They provide land, but if you don't know how to utilize the land that maybe you've had in your family and you're ready to pull the trigger on the dream home, they have that knowledge. Call them. Go look at the website, kengarland.com. Maybe you love your lot. You don't want to leave that, so you want a remodel. I call it a renovation with innovation. All the modern amenities. You want the California closets. You want the island in the kitchen. You want the media room with the speakers on the wall. That's what they do. They know how to do that so beautifully. And like Ken says, the job's never done. He sees little details, big picture, and if there's a problem 6 months later, they're there. You're like family. Go be a part of it. Go to kengarland.com, build that dream home or get that renovation with innovation. Think about it and plan your stuff ahead. Give Ken a call. We head to, are we in Atlanta, Tom Hart? Is that where you are today?
Yeah, traversing the beautiful airport that is, busiest airport in the world.
Yeah,
and making our way to the next destination.
You guys stole that from Chicago. When I was a kid, it was O'Hare. And then all of a sudden, Atlanta with their wonderful location
Well,
in the snow.
If I remember correctly, and this was at least one, if not two, athletic directors prior. Wasn't the Memphis airport going to be the key to the Tigers joining the Big East? Didn't RC say that at one point?
Well, we did. We had FedEx, and we still have it. Come on now.
Yeah, it's a great airport.
Yeah. Well, look,
Jersey Mike's and everything. We're all set.
Hey, you know our airport. Is Jersey Mike still in there? I'm not sure of that. But anyway, what game did you have last night?
Last night I was in Austin for Florida.
Ah, yeah. So that's perfect because I have as one of the things I want to talk to you about, and that is Florida taking over in the SEC. It looks like it. They've now padded their lead, and they did a pretty good job in Austin last night. Uh-oh.
And you got me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay, sorry about that. They've been fantastic since the calendar turned to the new year. In fact, if you use the analytics sites and the computer models to kind of break down who's most efficient on both sides of the ball and value all of that stuff, they're number 2 in the country to Duke since January 1st. And that includes, by the way, a road loss at Missouri and a home loss to Auburn. And I think it just kind of puts in perspective that this Florida team in a really good SEC, I think Ken Pom still has it as the number 1 league in the country. They're winning everything. They've won 7 straight road games. They've won all 7 of those by at least 13 points. Last night was the closest one they've had in that stretch. And what Todd Golden has built is a system that has a really, really high floor, which is predicated simply on defense and rebounding. And if they don't shoot the ball particularly well, especially from deep, that's okay. They can still win games. So to me, it's kind of a throwback team built around bigs and having those opportunities to still score and still win big and decisively with defense and rebounding.
You just is Ken Pom as the SEC is the number 1 conference?
He has for most of the season.
Wow.
I don't think that's changed, but it could have within since the weekend.
Well, I know that the Big Ten has 5 of the top 11 in the rankings, and I know that the Big 12 has 6 teams in the rankings. The SEC does have 5, but I can't believe the Big Ten is not the best league. And I don't know if they'll get the most teams in, but certainly top heavy, they would have to be the best. Ken Pom, I think the net gets better as the year goes on. I think Ken Pom in the beginning of the year is the most accurate. I kind of go to the net toward the end. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the net does a really good job of balancing all of that stuff. I think to me, once we're at this point of the season, I want more resume-based metrics than predictive. And for people out there who are saying, what's this mumbo jumbo? Like, what are we talking about?
Right.
It's pretty simple. Like, resume is based on what you've accomplished. And we've got, 2 weeks left in the regular season before the conference tournaments? Hay's in the barn. We should know where everybody is. And I'm a fan of this for all sports. Like, I get frustrated when we don't value head-to-head wins in sports. We say, but the numbers say
I'm with you.
No, they played head-to-head.
Right.
What is the point of playing and keeping score if we don't count the wins? It's one of my biggest issues with college football is that we get too tied up in, the recruiting rankings say that this team should be the best.
Right.
Well, I don't care. If they don't win the game, then they're not the best, and that's what it's all based on.
Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, all those along with Florida are making the NCAA tournament. Out of those 3, which is the best team?
Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee.
Yeah,
is what you gave me.
Yeah.
What Tennessee and Arkansas have is the potential of riding that young hot hand, and Rick Barnes did that with Kevin Durant in a trip to the Final Four, and he basically handed Durant the ball and said, "Okay, go get him, big fella." And he has the same thing in Nate Ament, who has really matured and grown into becoming an elite player. John Calipari has that. I'll go with Arkansas because Calipari has that with Darius Acuff, who is sensational, but they have gotten great play from others lately. Billy Richmond, I think, has 4 straight 20-point games.
Memphis kid.
Oh, man, can he play? Yeah. Yeah, and
he was great last night. I can tell you, I watched some of that game. Because Acuff had a terrible game in that game in the first half, and Richmond kept him in, and then they pulled away in the second half. But he's got pieces. Don't forget Brazil too. I mean, that team is enticing to me. Memphis played them in an exhibition game. Calipari came back. That was back in November, and that was a fun evening, and I was pretty impressed with that team. And I think it's perfect how you've laid this out, because that is really my next question was, who is the best freshman in this league? Is it Ament, who is a big guy, a surefire NBA guy? Is it Acuff, who I think is going to go in the top 8 for sure? I've fallen in love with him. Is there any other freshman in the SEC? Who would be your vote for freshman of the year?
This is not to knock Ament down or denigrate his game in any way, but he has played throughout the season like a freshman who's still learning how to be the most efficient. He takes a lot of shots. A great story for you. Yesterday ran into Travis Mays, the great Texas guard, and we got to talking about Kevin Durant. And he said, I was there for Durant's first pickup game when he showed up at Texas. And Kevin Durant got on the court, did not pass the ball, and he took the first 10 shots of pickup. Anybody else is catching knuckles when they do that. Everybody else on the team with Kevin Durant just looked at him. He must have been 18, maybe 17, and said, "Yeah, okay, I guess this guy's shooting. I guess the ball's going to be in his hands, even as a true freshman." Nate Ament was given that same sort of freedom, but it took him a while. If you go back and look at his shooting numbers in November, December, even January. Even the first half last week in Tennessee's win, he wasn't very efficient. So I think Acuff is a guy who takes over games and can really impose his will. And John Calipari delivered, in ways only Cal can, a great reminder message, contrary to what's happening with Kansas and Darren Peterson.
Right.
Acuff played 50 minutes in their game against Alabama last week, and he had been in a walking boot and had missed a couple of practices. So I think all of that points to Darius Acuff. He's something special, and the SEC gets guys like this in terms of like great scores. Trey Johnson did that last year for Texas. I think he finished second in the league in scoring as a freshman. And Brandon Miller was great when he was at Alabama, an obvious lottery pick. You can go all the way down the line. But Acuff just seems to have, to use basketball terminology, has that dog in him, and is a high caliber competitor.
Well, this draft is going to be one of the best since probably the 90s. When you think about it, you got Debanza, you got Peterson, you just mentioned, you got Wilson, you got Boozer, you got the kid from Illinois, you got Flemings from Houston, you got Acuff, you got Ament. I mean, this is unreal how good this class is.
Yeah, how do you make this decision? How do you pick who you want to invest in going forward? Like, I love Boozer. I mean, I saw him in person when Duke played at Tennessee in November in an exhibition game, and he was a man among boys, and he looks like, the seniors used to look in college basketball, maybe going back to the 90s. There's nothing he can't do. He can score at every level. He can distribute. He can play defense. He sees the floor incredibly well, all of that stuff. But still, Wolo, the biggest wild card is Darren Peterson. Like, he is unquestionably has elite talent. And I just don't know, and I had Kansas earlier this season, and Self and I talked about him, and he was missing time then, and I just don't know what to make of it. And I just can't think of – I heard this comparison recently. They said from a social standpoint, he's a lot like Kawhi Leonard. Well, Kawhi Leonard was next level. Like, you have to be in top 0.001% to make up for all of those foibles that come with being a great teammate, or lacking thereof, or what we think of as a great teammate. And as good as Peterson is, I don't know if I'm an NBA team if I make that kind of investment for a guy who says, "Yeah, I'm antisocial." Like that is those are his words, and that is a tough investment to make.
I would say this with all that talent, and I know that this guy might be actually physically the best player in this draft, but with all the other talent that's there, and you got to question his toughness, maybe, or his loyalty to a team, or his caring and passion about winning, I would go on to the next guy. All right, last thing. There used to be a thing in Sports Illustrated, proof that the apocalypse is upon us now.
Yeah.
Remember that? What do you make of Cincinnati suing their former quarterback, Brendan Sorsby, for $1 million? Because there was a clause in his contract, in his NIL agreement, an 18-month deal, that if you leave, you got to pay $1 million. His representative goes, "We ain't paying nothing," and he goes to Texas Tech for $4 to $6 million, somewhere in there. What do you make of all of this?
You want to be professional? You want to get paid millions of dollars? This is the byproduct of that. There are rules to agreeing to a contract in the real world. I don't care if you're a home builder, a roofer, a ditch digger, whatever. You agree to it. There's penalties if you don't fulfill it. Good for Cincinnati. Good for having the stones to do this. It was always said that, well, that's really risky because these aren't boilerplate NFL deals, right? And you don't own the rights like in other leagues. The kid, obviously, with roster flexibility, can pack up and leave. And so in that competition and recruiting, this might ding you a little bit. I've talked to athletic directors throughout the last couple of years, and they've said, we've got these things in place. We've just got to learn to enforce them. And that's hard when recruiting is like dating, right? Like all of a sudden you show a couple warts, and now you're not the most popular. But I think it's the wave of the future. I think these schools have to do it to protect their investment and mostly to protect their roster. This almost happened with Washington's quarterback, and the timing of him leaving had Washington in a lurch, and they said, fine, we're going to recoup whatever. And that was many millions. That was 3 to 5, if I remember correctly. And you want to pay that? Good. We'll take it. And the kid goes, yeah, you know what? Maybe being here making this money is not so bad. Maybe I look good in purple. So he stuck around. I have that same competition in my contract. I can't just get up and leave and go to another spot.
No, you can't. And you're in a good spot, so that's a good thing. But if you're going to be a big boy and play for big boy money, you got to pay the price if you're moving on. There's no doubt about that in my mind. Tom Hart, as always, I love our conversations. We'll do it again next Thursday.
Well, thanks for having me. Have a great Thursday.
You too. That's Tom Hart with ESPN. We take a break. When we come back, we're going downtown. The Hall of Famer standing by. Jarvo on a myriad of topics. He comes your way in just a minute.
Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Available locally on your radio dial as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, it's easy to stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Listen up, Mid-South. Landers Ford in Collierville says make no payments for 90 days. That's right. During Ford Truck Month, your #1 Ford dealer gives you payment relief. New Ford F-150, 0% APR financing for 60 months. 0 down payments. 0 payments for 90 days. Are you listening? New F-150s, 0% APR financing for 60 months. 0 down payments. 0 payments for 90 days. Get started now with our Landers Easy Pass at LandersFordMemphis.com. Shop one of the largest selections of new Fords before they're sold. It's only once a year. Act now. 0% APR, 0 down payment, 0 payments for 90 days. There's 0 to pay to drive today. Landers Ford in Colliersville. If it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
As reported on Ford's 2025 Total New Vehicle Retail Sales Report, Memphis Market, with approved credit from Ford Credit. Minimum monthly payment of $1,667 per 1,000 finance. Regardless of down payment, interest accrues from inception. Example, 2025 Ford F-150 Lariat. VIN number 1FTFW5L8XSFB43528. MSRP $71,675. Ford bonus cash $1,000. Sale price $70,675. Based on 0% APR financing for 60 months. Price, tax, title, and $695 processing fee. See dealer for complete details. Offer ends 4/2/26.
Air. We breathe it naturally. Simple, right? Not so fast. The air you breathe could be hazardous to your health. Don't guess. Be sure with a phone call to the Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South. Call the Memphis Mold Inspector to check the air quality inside your home and office. Protect babies, pets, new homes, old homes, employees, friends, loved ones, and you. Just call 901-292-7788 for clean air and peace of mind. 901-292-7788 for the Memphis Mold Inspector.
Drivers wanted, drivers wanted. If you're looking for a new ride, we Gossett at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. How about sporty 2026 Jetta S, $277 a month? We Gossett. 2026 Taos S is only $327 a month. $327 a month for Taos S. How about Tiguan S at only $355 a month? We Gossett. $355 a month for Tiguan S. You want a new ride? We got you covered at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. Remember, it's not a new ride if it's not from Gossett, so get to Gossett Volkswagen today, 1875 Covington Pike, or online, GossettVWMemphis.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36 month lease, Jetta SM 104-280, MSRP 26,426, Taos SMO 6162, MSRP 27,011, Jetta TMW 5137, MSRP 25,820, Taos STM 108, 191, MSRP 29,101, Tiguan TMO 14510, MSRP 32,585, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax on a license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer ends 2/28/26, dealer stock only.
The Memphis Hustle are back at the Landers Center to take on the Wisconsin Herd tonight at 7 p.m. Bring the whole crew and celebrate together with the Hustle. Grab your tickets today at memphishustle.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We welcome you back in. Final segment on Thursday. That means we go downtown to talk to the Hall of Famer. That would be Jarvis Greer. Jarvo, great piece, by the way, on your battle with cancer and prostate cancer returning, and your fight, I guess, is the best way to put it. And Channel 5 documented it, and Joe Birch did a heck of a job. I never had a chance to talk with you about it, but I hope that that people watch that and understand, they got to get checked, and that you can come back from it. You gotta make sure you get to the doctor and do the appropriate things.
Yeah, you have to do that. I'm actually tooling around 240 right now because I just went out to pick up some of my meds, and it's a beautiful day. Enjoy every day because next day's not promised, and I'm so glad to still be here. And it's better to know than not know. And testing is very simple. It's very, very simple. It doesn't have to involve, the rectal exam. Let's just be frank about it. They do blood testing with the PSA test, which you know about. And it's like, hey, when you find out, there are people there that can help you make whatever decision that you need to make. And, so you can extend your life. Because it can take you out. They call it a silent killer. And I'm still here. That's what my wife says. And so it's all good.
Yeah. And I thought they did a good job of portraying what it could be like and how it's easy to get checked. And you were kind to let everybody into your personal life and know that. All right, let's get to sports. Let's get to the Tigers tonight. Basketball, it's pretty much an important game. That's not must win, but it's pretty close to must win for Memphis against Wichita. I'm surprised they're 1.5 favorites, but they are. And this is also needed for Penny. There's a lot of noise out there. I think ridiculous noise personally. Considering last year he was the coach of the year in the conference, he had a great non-conference schedule that he won the majority of the games, was a 5 seed, won the regular season, won the tournament. I mean, if that doesn't give you a year grace, I don't know what the heck does. But I think Penny needs this win tonight.
I think, just for his psyche. I hated after the USF game, he was really broken. He was really broken after that. And then followed it up with UAB at home, where it just didn't look like they had it together. They had played well against his own, fairly well against his own game before. Then they come back this game and couldn't play. and it's frustrating. And I know he's frustrated. I've covered him ever since he was in high school as a tremendous. He's in the High School Hall of Fame for his play at Treadwell, and of course, what he did at Memphis as an All-American, and now taking on the job. And after 8 years, this is the 8th year. Everybody, what do you call them? The hot seat and all that other kind of stuff is out there, and I get it, and he gets it. He knows it, and he's not out there trying. The thing is, I think what really hurt Penny is when when PJ decided to go after hanging on, and Danger wanted to come back from last year, but they never could get it to work, and then he had to go search and hunt the portal really, really late. And I think the guys he got were really bargain basement guys. You go in that bargain basement bin at Walmart, pick out, this and that, and that's what it's turned out to be. And coming from guys that don't know how to win, their basketball IQ is not where it needs to be, just innately. And it's really hurt. But, I cannot predict the future, but I think tonight would go a long way in helping. What also would go a long way in helping is if AB plays tonight. And do you have any intel on that after that dislocation?
No, but I can tell you this. In the game at Wichita, Parker did not play. Okay. He had a bad ankle. Right. And late in the first half, Doug McDaniel did not get a screen called correctly. He had a concussion, so he didn't play. He didn't play in the second half. Bradshaw played well, but so who I was telling this earlier. The guy that Thedford I can't remember if Thedford played. I think he did. The guy that turned the game around for the University of Memphis in that game, because they won the second half by 3, was Simon Majok. He did a heck of a job on their big guy, their 7'2" center Berg. So I don't know if he'll play tonight. I don't know if Bradshaw will play tonight. I guess that'll be up to Penny.
I think Majok's got to play. I think he's the future of a piece for the future of this team, because he's just a freshman. He's still young, very, very young.
He needs weight. He gets pushed around. That's the bottom line.
He needs weight and he needs seasoning. He needs to get thrown out there. And all right, the season is what it is right now. Go on and throw him out there and let him play and let him, take his lumps, let him get beat on a little bit and see if he comes back. And because we've seen him, be really good defensively in the middle as either a help defender or on his man, and he's still kind of learning how to play. I know that he has shown flashes of having some offense. So, but just having a game.
We lost service. That's what happens when you're driving around 240. Now he had to get his meds, so that's clearly understandable. But that's what happens with live radio for sure. I will be. I think that Majok is an important guy to bring back next year. I think if you're looking at next year, and Penny has made this comment, and I think it's true just for continuity's sake and learning how they practice and everything else, I believe it's important that you're going to bring back Givens and Thedford, those two in particular. And then I'd bring back Bradshaw and Majok. I don't know what happened either. That's live radio. You are back, and you were in mid-sentence. I think we pretty well covered that thing. I want to move to a different subject while I got you, and that's what will happen with John next week. They'll reveal the extent of the injury on the elbow, which, I've seen. It was, an elbow contusion? Is that how they worded it? That wouldn't last that long with the NBA now using independent doctors to examine things. What's going to happen with Ja? Do you think that Zach Kleiman and Tomas Isolo will play him? What kind of a role? What's going to happen there with Ja?
Well, I'll tell you this. I've had an ulnar injury. It's a nerve there in your elbow, right by your funny bone. And it doesn't hurt all the time, but there's sometimes that nerve just slips over the bone. It's like, oh my goodness, it's really hurt. And I really think you remember the game he hurt it in when he was going up to block a shot, hit his elbow off the backboard,
right?
And that was like later in the game. He had a chance to win it, and he got a high dribble. The ball got away from him, and he had to throw up that three. That was with the left hand. That's the elbow. I think that thing hit him right there. It's an all of a sudden jolt kind of thing. So whether or not, if he can get through that, I think they're going to have to play him, because otherwise, the NBA will start to come in and investigate. Well, why aren't these guys playing? You get a second opinion. He could say it's Phil Hurts. They could say all kind of things. But if he's okay, if he's okay to play, I don't see how he doesn't. But we'll just have to see how that works out.
When you were out with that ulnar elbow injury, how long were you?
I wasn't ever out with it.
No.
I wasn't ever out with it. It's just one of those things where it just catches you. It's like a catch.
For how long? How long did that
catch
affect you?
Oh, shoot, it still does.
Oh, really?
And now, just every now and then, it just, of course, I'm getting older now, Dave. You know what I mean? And this didn't happen to me until, much later in life. I was already done playing. I was, just doing rec stuff, then, just to try to stay busy, keep my girlish figure, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, but it's just one of those things that happens. So hopefully he can, just for his sake, that he can get better and get through it. But as far as the Grizzlies are concerned, man, it's really, they got so many guys that are on the injured list. I'm hoping that we'll get a BC sighting here while they're on this road trip coming up.
What about Aldama? What's wrong with Aldama?
They said, some sort of capsule thing behind his knee, and, that could be anything. There's so many things out there that, they can keep rolling around, rolling it over, right, almost like your IRA. You roll it over to the next time. Keep rolling.
I found it interesting. They signed a 6'7" wingman instead of a big. They have no bigs. They're starting Prosper, who was a guard at one time. They're starting him at center. Yeah, it tells me they don't want to win.
There's too many. There's too many players out there in the draft that are worth losing for. I guess as a season ticket holder, I hate it. You know what I hate the most part is not that it's a tank. What we got, like 8-10 teams that are in the same boat as the Grizzlies and are basically doing the same thing. It's not that. It's the fact that it happened so early with so much of the season left.
Right.
If it was the last 2 weeks of the season or last 10 games, okay, I get it. I get it. I get what you're trying to do. I see it. But when you got like this started with 38 games left, that's almost half the season.
I know.
And the Grizzlies weren't the first one to do it. They were still actively trying to do everything that they could, to win.
That's what the league's got to figure it out. I don't know if that means no draft. I'm not sure exactly what it means, but when you're charging, $1,200 to $3,000 to sit on the wood, or you're charging $400-500 to sit, on the lower bowl, you got to have your guys playing, and that's not happening.
And the thing is, Daily Memphian did a really good piece on a father and son came from Israel to come watch the game. They bought tickets a long time ago to see Ja. They wanted to see Ja, and you take your chances now. You got a family of 4. Say you want to come out. My son, he got 4 kids, and they want to go to the game and see some. You see the play now. They're little. They'll jump up and down at anything. Yeah. They're happy to just go
and it's a good thing they got a grandpa that works for the organization too. So they're in pretty good shape. I got to run. Thank you. We'll do this again next Thursday. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Let's
have a good one tonight.
Yeah.
Let's see what can happen tonight.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
I'm all
we'll
good.
Be there.
Good. I'm glad. We'll see you tonight then. We'll see you at FedEx Forum. We'll see all of you at FedEx Forum tonight. And Java brought to you by Sheldon. You ever wonder where your doctor goes when he or she gets sick, or you got a toothache? Where does your dentist go when he's got one? I can tell you, when there is a real estate agent that sort of retires or is overworked and has too many people, where do they send them? They send them to Sheldon, because they know he's as good as it gets. They know he works 24/7, 365. They know he's got the strategic marketing program that can make the difference in what you make when you get to the closing table and how quickly you will get to the closing table. He knows how to market. He knows how to price. He knows how to work with people. And like I said, his work ethic is amazing. So if you know somebody, or you are thinking about selling your home, or you need one, you got to have a meeting with Sheldon. and he's going to take care of you all the way. From that first meeting to the closing table, he's by your side 24/7. He'll answer your questions and guide you down the path to what will be a very successful transaction. That's why people say when you want the job done, you call Sheldon, and that's what other professionals have done. When they need somebody, they call or email Sheldon. Simple. MemphisRelocate.com or 483-0546. That's MemphisRelocate.com or 483-0546. I'll be off tomorrow. Landon Schmidt will take you through. We'll talk to you again on Monday. Don't go anywhere. Johnny Radio is next. Have a great Thursday, everyone.